I'm gonna miss my wife and I'm gonna miss my kids.
Fidel and Jennifer just celebrated their 17th wedding anniversary, but Fidel is undocumented, coming to the U.S. from Mexico in 1995. And together, they have now made the agonizing decision for Fidel to self-deport alone. And now he has to move on.
I'm gonna be, again, just by myself and start a new life.
Now, I don't know this couple's exact situation, so I'm going to try to say this with the most respect possible, but this is the part of the interview that, to me, come on, man. File the paperwork to come back to the United States as a married couple. It might take you a couple of years, but do you need to start a whole new life? No. And we're back, y'all. Thank you for watching today. Go ahead and hit that like button, my people. You know that helps us out a ton. And of course, it helps you because it helps us keep bringing you these stories every day. Now, y'all, I usually don't do this type of story. I don't usually like to talk about an individual or a family that's not connected to the government or that who has not thrust him or herself into public life through one means or another. But this family has a profile on ABC News. They obviously agreed to this profile. They agreed to go public with their case. So I'm going to use this as a teachable moment for everybody who sees this video. The story, you've heard this story a billion times now in the news. Somebody's been in the country without permission for 15, 20, 30 years, and now they're facing deportation. In this case, the husband who you are seeing on your screen, he is going to self-deport back to Mexico, I believe it was. And so his family's breaking up. Now, I think that the point of this piece is to make you feel bad for the family, which, of course, anytime a family is breaking up, it's a sad moment. But I think that the point of the piece is to make you blame the Trump administration, even though this piece definitely does not go as far as many other pieces have, as many other news reports have in vilifying the Trump administration. Okay, so I will say that. But what I want to do is I want to show you some of this, and I want to point out some of the things that this news report does not tell you. And I also want to point out some of the things that people tend to say when they hear these cases, which are just plainly wrong and false. And by the end of this video, you are going to have more information than 99% of the American public about this type of situation. And you're going to be able to fully understand, or at least much better understand, these types of situations when you see them on the news going into the future. Okay, so I'm going to school you. I'm going to let you know exactly what you need to know about these cases and the information you can also apply to other cases. So without further ado, y'all, let's go ahead and jump right into it. But before we do, y'all, we have a new webpage for my people out there who are like, yo, I have money, but I don't want to give it away to the people who are trying to take it. How can I protect my retirement? Y'all, gold. How many times do I have to tell you? Gold has been man's longest monetary best friend for 5,000 years. I mean, what else are you looking for? Go to our webpage. Go to the new webpage, Paralegal, PARALEGOLD.com. Get the information on how to protect your retirement. And you can call 844-651-8334 and speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals. Now let's go ahead and hop into this content.
At the Rivera household in suburban Raleigh,
Did you go?
it may look like a typical weekend. Fidel and Jennifer Rivera taking on daughter Isabella at card games,
Put the six down, bruh.
cheering on their older daughter, Mackenzie, at the soccer field. But for this family, these everyday moments are precious and fleeting.
I'm gonna miss my wife and I'm gonna miss my kids.
Fidel and Jennifer just celebrated their 17th wedding anniversary, but Fidel is undocumented, coming to the U.S. from Mexico in 1995.
There was no jobs and I decided to come in over here to look for a better future.
The only thing that he's ever done wrong was come here without documentation.
All right, so here we need to point out two things. The first question everybody would say is, he's been here for 30 years. How come he hasn't figured out how to get a legal status by now? The fact is, if he came across the border with no permission, meaning he wasn't on a visa, he just ran across the border or snuck across the border, it's almost impossible for him to get a legal status. He might have been able to try to go the asylum route, but he said he couldn't get a job at home. So he really doesn't have an asylum claim. He did not have an asylum claim at that point. Even once he got married to his wife, he could not apply within the United States for residency. He would have had to sneak home, right? Because if they caught him in the States, like he's getting on a plane to fly home, it'd be like, yo, we didn't even know you were here. So that would be a problem. So he would have had to sneak home. His wife would have had to go to Mexico. They would have had to get married in Mexico. Then I guess she could have come back, or she could have stayed there, whatever she decided to do. But she could have come back. Then he would have had an appointment in Mexico to get his visa to come to the United States. So she would have had to go back on the date of their appointment and do the appointment in Mexico. So there was almost no way that he could have done any kind of process being already in the United States without permission to stay. He would have had to go home. Okay. That's the first thing. Second thing, she says, only thing he did wrong was cross the border without permission. Coming across the border without permission and without claiming asylum, just sneaking into the country, it is a crime. It's not a felony, but it's definitely a crime. Your first time doing it, it's a misdemeanor, but it's a crime, and it's punishable by imprisonment, and it's punishable by deportation. In order to work, you're working without permission. That's wrong. A lot of people print up fake Social Security cards. They do all kinds of things. They drive without driver's licenses. Again, this is not saying that they're violent criminals. I'm just analyzing the claim. Driving without a driver license, that's a crime. Printing up a fake Social Security card, crime. Printing up a fake residency card so you can get a job, crime. So am I saying he did this? I don't know what he did, but I'm just analyzing this as a general claim. Well, they didn't do anything else wrong. Come on now, okay? Let's continue.
Without any legal status, he risks being detained and deported. And together, they have now made the agonizing decision for Fidel to self-deport alone.
To give the peace to my wife and to my kids. I don't want they see me and in handcuffs with chains in the jail.
This is not an unfounded fear.
We started seeing people that were being picked up for dumb things, like not criminals. I did not want my husband wrapped up in that.
So again, there are very sparing options for anybody who is currently in the country without permission, who never had permission, who never came in on a visa, who just hopped across the border or whatever you call it. There are very sparing options for them to do anything while staying in the United States in order to have to regularize their stay here, their status here. I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's very difficult. It's certainly not something you would say, you've been here, and I might have said it myself before, because it's a knee-jerk reaction. Man, you've been here 20 years, you should have done something. But even though we can say that as a knee-jerk reaction, that's not really advice. It's not a real criticism. If we're saying you should have done something while staying here, you could have gone home and tried to come back with a regularized status or with a real status, yes. But there is not very much you could do to stay in the United States when you came in without permission to try to get that permission to stay.
The second Trump administration's aggressive immigration enforcement has escalated the risk of detention. Currently, nearly 60,000 people are being held by ICE. Almost half have no criminal record, only immigration violations.
I'm Christy Nome.
Part of the government's campaign, self-deport, now.
If you don't, we will find you, and we will deport you. You will never return.
According to DHS, Fidel will be joining some 1.6 million people who have already self-deported.
This is heartbreaking. I don't want to wake up on Tuesday without my best friend next to me. But that's what I'm being forced to do to keep him safe.
Fidel and Jennifer met salsa dancing, married 2 years later, and raised a family. She teaches math, he went to school to be an electrician and worked in construction, but he had no legal path to citizenship.
Even though he's married to a U.S. citizen, even though we have 2 U.S. citizen children, even though he pays taxes, even though he has a job, even though he is not a drain on society.
Now I want to give you a personal anecdote. I myself was in a foreign country, And I had a child with who's now my wife. We weren't married at that time. Don't judge me, people. We got married eventually. Okay. So we had a U.S. citizen daughter. My daughter had a passport, United States citizen at birth. Congratulations. My daughter was an infant. No, my daughter was about 5 or 6 months old, breastfeeding. My wife went for a United States visa and they declined her. So think about this. There are thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of women who are outside of the United States, who are mothers to United States children, who are mothers to U.S. citizen children who can't come here. So the idea that somehow having a United States citizen child should get you some kind of access to the United States, whether there's a should there or not, it doesn't. So he doesn't have a claim just because he has a United States child. Same goes for marriage. Okay. There's a process. You have to follow it. Typically, if you don't follow the process, you don't get the access. That's just the way it is.
Despite advocating to change the laws for mixed status families, their lives have been on hold.
So we couldn't make any plans. We couldn't plan for our future. We couldn't plan for retirement. We couldn't plan for our kids' future.
And now he has to move on.
I'm gonna be again just by myself and start a new life.
Now, I don't know this couple's exact situation, so I'm going to try to say this with the most respect possible, but this is the part of the interview that, to me, come on, man. What you need to do in order to solve this problem is go to Mexico, have your wife fly in, get married there, you stay there, you apply for a visa. You could even apply for a fiancé visa. He could go to Mexico and apply for a fiancé visa, or get married, have your wife fly in, get married in Mexico, file the paperwork to come back to the United States as a married couple. It might take you a couple of years, but do you need to start a whole new life? No, absolutely not. There's no reason for that. So at this point, they totally lost me. At this point, I mean, you've been married for 17 years. You have grown kids, or practically grown, and you tell them you're going to start a whole new life because of this? There's a very straightforward thing you can do. Now, again, do I know their exact circumstances? No. But this report doesn't even this report doesn't even offer that up as an option and tell you why they couldn't do that. It doesn't even talk about that. So it relies on you, the viewer, being totally ignorant of the fact that all he has to do is go home, right? He's self-deporting. According to the Trump administration, they're going to give people amnesty. If you self-deport, you do get to come back. What he needs to do is go home. His wife fly in. She doesn't have to leave her job. She doesn't even have to. It could be a weekend. Fly in, get married. Yeah, he's going to be there. Yeah, he's going to be there for a bit. Maybe a year and a half, 2 years, right? Waiting for the visa. But if you're a happily married couple, you can survive that. It's not going to be happy. It's not going to be easy. It's going to be painful. But it's not start a whole new life territory. So that's where they lost me here.
Over there.
The rest of the family will stay behind.
So you hear people saying, why don't you just get up and move with your family? I can't leave. This is my 24th year of teaching. I have to hit 30 to get my full retirement. We have a senior in high school. She doesn't want to leave her senior year.
You're telling me in 6 months when I'm about to have my graduation or something like that, but one of my parents is not going to be there. It's just it just makes me upset.
So, come Monday morning,
I'm gonna cry somewhere.
boxes stand by ready for shipping. Bags hauled out to the car. They head to the Raleigh airport.
So the rest of this report is him going back to Mexico. This is like a permanent goodbye. Farewell, we'll never see each other again. And y'all listen, I'm not making light of the idea that a family would have to jump through some hoops, might have to be apart for a year or 2 years while they undergo a process. That's tough. It's heart-wrenching. I wouldn't want to be away from my daughters and my wife for two years. But also, I mean, am I missing something here? Because this report at no point points out the fact that he has a very straightforward path to coming back to the United States, and that it just requires him to go home, for them to get married there, and then get the proper documentation for him to come on back. So y'all, I want y'all to let me know, what do you think about this? I mean, I think a lot of people would say, I don't have any sympathy for him because he knew what he was doing. Yeah, he knew what he was doing. Well, why didn't he, in all those years, why didn't he fix his status? He couldn't fix his status without going home. Now, if you think he should have just gone home, maybe, I mean, that's an opinion. But just know he couldn't have stayed in the United States and fixed his status, okay? Let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments, y'all. Before you do, please stop, hit the share button, share this video out over email, text message, WhatsApp, Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram, all your favorite social mediums. And of course, if you're not a subscriber, please do subscribe. To my people with the retirement, go down below. First link in the description, Paralegal, PARALEGOLD.com. Click it and speak to our partners at Augusta Precious Metals on how to protect your retirement from the upsies, downsies, the roundsies, and the roundsies. You can also call them at 844-651-8334. Thank y'all for watching. Love y'all, and we'll see you back in the next one.